Hi, welcome to my flat Nublar save file and a beginner's guide to Jurassic World path design. In this video, I want to show you how to use the path tool to create interesting designs so you can make your park look more unique. I like making large and intricate public squares, and since it's the only real design option we have in the game, I thought I'd show you the process so you can add something unique to your park. Now, before we get started on the actual design, and while I'm finishing up setting up all of the creation labs, I do have two announcements about the channel itself. For starters, from now on, I will be uploading a video every Monday. That gives me plenty of time to edit and add finishing touches in the weekend. And I'm actually using the Photoshop we have at work to help me create some thumbnails. I don't feel like spending money on Photoshop. Once I get in the swing of things, get a hang of recording and stuff, I also want to upload one extra video during the week on any given day. By not setting a specific day, I'm just giving myself a little bit more freedom, and hopefully that's going to create some interesting content. So if you don't want to miss out on a video, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications. The second announcement I have is that I will be changing the name of the channel. Crazy Path Lady was a name that started out as an out-of-control joke, but I'm really enjoying sharing stuff with you on YouTube, and the current channel name just yields some really obnoxious search results. And I want the new channel name to be a little bit more, well, not more serious, but a little bit more accessible. So I'm going to share the new channel name at the end of the video, but first we're going to get into the path design and show you how to just create something interesting. So now I've finished sort of laying out the overall shape of the entry point for the park. I'm just trying to decide how to approach this this square that we're going to be working on. Just trying to figure out how to place it, and then we'll get started. What I always do as the start is just lay down a scaffold, which it's just the basic shape of what I'm going to make. In this instance, it's going to be an actual square. So I want something pretty large. So we're going to do 4 maximum lengths across on each side. And that's going to give us an even and perfectly square space to work in. Now what I mean with the scaffold is this first outline and all of the design work that we're going to do with the first color. Because something that's really important when you're working with the path tool is that you work one color at a time. So you don't want to switch between fancy, cheap and the dirt path. You just want to complete all of your work with one color before going on to the next. That's just a rule of thumb. And that's going to help you with some clipping issues that might occur later, that are definitely going to occur later, because it's always something you have to work around. So I'm just figuring out the middle right here. The path tool always snaps into place perfectly at the center, so you don't have to eyeball that. Just let the game do the work for you and be your assistant. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. I don't have a reference for this one, so I'm just playing around a little bit, searching for something that looks, interesting. And this is what I like to call the scaffold. So it's just the basic design that we're going to be filling in later. And what you're really doing is adding more and more detail to the groundwork that you've laid. But yeah, for this one, I don't have a reference. I'm just winging it, trying to see what the path is not snapping here. Very helpful, but we can solve that by doing it like so. Sometimes using a reference helps, but it can also harm. It helps in the sense that it's obviously good to draw inspiration from something, but it can harm the process because it's difficult to perfectly replicate something, and you might get stuck or really frustrated when you can't get it to work the way you want. So that's something you just have to take in mind. When you're using a reference, try to see it in terms of the limitations of the path tool. And the more practice you have working with the path tool, the better, or rather, the more capable you are of breaking down a design into steps that are doable with the path tool. But you can just wing it like I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to figure out some stuff. So we're going to create an inner square inside our main square. And we're deleting these. I used these as guidelines, but as it turned out, the game was pretty helpful with making it snap into place anyway. I want to create another smaller square in here, but I have to figure out how to get it even on all sides. So I'm going to use 2 minimum path lengths and then work out from the other sides as well. And it should, yeah, there you go. It should pull right into position. Gonna do 2 more minimum path lengths over here. Oh. I just want to be sure that it's the same distance every time. And hopefully that'll be enough to fit trees in there. It should be enough. Yeah. Should probably use 2 more minimum path lengths. As you might already be able to tell, this is something that requires patience. You know, you need to have a passion for design and making your parks look unique in order to make this work. Otherwise, you're just going to get bored. So, yeah, we have another inner square, and we're going to delete these struts. Now, as I mentioned before, you want to lay down all of your work with one path color first. So that's why I'm not switching to a different path type. Now our trees fit, so that's good. I'm wondering if it'll still fit if we make it a wide path. Let's check. It does still fit. Kinda. Maybe. Yeah. I can still make these fit, but the thick path is always a little bit more difficult to work with when you're connecting a lot of points, because the thick and thin path, or I say thick, I should say wide, the wide path doesn't always connect nicely with the narrow path. So I'm just going to stick with narrow and delete these center lines. Whoa. Oh, wow. That almost never happens. It would be great if the delete tool actually worked like that all of the time. I'm just trying to think of a design here. What I think we're going to do for this square is use a lot of negative space, which means we're going to leave quite a bit of grass. So I want, yeah, I want the inside to be something natural as well, but I do want to add just one more inner square to give it a bit more interest. Just gonna eyeball this. Oh, that's crooked. Yeah, working with negative space is a great way to make your huge squares look more natural and blend into your parks a little bit better. And it saves you a lot of time filling in with the other path. Can we delete this? We can, right? Ooh, yeah, we can. Perfect. So if you leave a lot of negative space, obviously you save time on filling it in with the other path. So that's what we're going to do. We're gonna cut some corners. What else do I want to do? This is pretty simple. Now we're going to keep it pretty simple because this is, you know, just the basics. But we do want to make it interesting. Let's just add circles, maybe? Circles are always good. Make a design look more purposeful. I'm trying to think of how to go about this. Because if I do that, I'm gonna have to eyeball... No, I know a better way. We're gonna do minimum path length. Yeah. And then we can make these circles even sizes on all 4 points. So if I can just right there, and then it snaps perfectly, and it's going to snap at the same exact place if we use the minimum path length on all 4 sides. So we're going to delete this point as well and go with the 2 minimums again, 3 I should say, and then go out from there. And as you can see, it snaps. That's really the biggest tip when you're working with either the path tool or the fence tool, is just, you know, look for that snap, because that's always helpful. I think this is going to be our basic design. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what kind of buildings we can fit. We can only fit 1, so we'll have 4 buildings in total, which we get. I definitely want a gift shop because that looks good. Maybe a bar, clothes shop, restaurant. But I should definitely have an arcade as well for the fun rating, so that's 5. We only have... Can we fit... Because the arcade and the bar are pretty small, so maybe we can fit... Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do bar and arcade on this side. Probably leave some space for a path in between. There. Does it fit? It should fit. Perfect. Alright. Yeah, and we'll do restaurant, clothes shop, and gift shop. Because those, obviously, then you have the trifecta of the most important buildings, but, you know, you also have the bar and the gift shop, which I think look pretty good. And everyone needs a drink. You know, after you see a dinosaur, you're gonna need a strong drink. So I'm just placing down buildings that are going to go inside of our square design. And what I usually prefer to do is place the buildings in a part of the design that we're going to cover with gray pathing. Because as you can see, gray path is around the buildings itself. Now that little strip of grass annoyed me, so I'm just going to redo that. Place the buildings anew, the arcade. Perfect. So now we want to fill this in with the normal path. And this is where you want to watch out for the clipping issues that I'm sure you're familiar with. So what I do is I connect different path types to each other as little as possible. So only as far as necessary, and then after that you connect within path type. So only gray to gray, fancy to fancy, because you can see it does that clipping thing if I attach it to fancy, but if I attach it to the normal one, it solves it. So now we're going to fill this in and do the other side. Oh, alright, that might be a problem. How are we going to solve this? Of course. There is always a solution. Almost always. I just can't think of it. So yeah, my biggest tip in this regard is just trying to keep searching for connection points that don't mess up your design. And I'm not finding any right now, which is awesome. For the purpose of this video, it's not a problem at all. I think we're gonna start over. We're gonna try a different way of filling this in. Oh, I have to delete even more. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not upset. Let's do it like this. and then go across. Now hopefully that works. It's not my usual technique because I'm connecting normal to fancy on 2 points, which I'd usually avoid, but yeah, that worked. So, you know, nothing is sacred. Now with this little triangle, you see what I usually do. I connect gray to gray as much as possible, because that usually, that works the best. So that will be my advice as a go-to, as your first try. But if that doesn't work, you have to search for something that does work. And you know, be patient about it. So we're gonna try this. Will it work? I hate that little... No! Oh no. Okay. Starting over. Like so. Oh, no, it's not perfect. There was a little bit right there. So we're just going to do exactly what we did on that first corner and hope that it works. Oh, damn it. Be gone! Be gone! I'm trying to make a point here and you're screwing it. You're screwing it up. Alright, we made it. Congratulations, we made it. Patience is key, people. Patience is key. This isn't the best as a tutorial because one of my main tips, yeah, this is the exception to that rule, but you know. All of life is just exceptions to the rules. We gotta roll with it. So I'm just filling it in. We'll probably skip over the next one, or no, let's show one more corner. We can do that. We're gonna start the way we learned. That's also something you should take into account. You know, every square design is a learning curve, has a learning curve. So just take what you've learned, what the game is trying to tell you, and apply it, and you'll see that it goes better the further along you get. And there. Now filling in this last triangle. Yeah, so I think there's not much else to say about this. So keep in mind, don't switch between path types. Always complete one color before moving on to the next. Rule of thumb is try to connect the same path types together as much as possible. Only if that doesn't work, try to search for other good connection points, quote unquote. That's just what I like to call them. I'm gonna do this one, and then we're going to continue with the design, and I'll bring you back in. Hold on a second. Okay, so now that's done. We're moving on to the next path type. We finished all of our work with gray. We're going to use the cheap path now. Now I can't connect from here because the gray part clips into the fancy path. We probably could pull out from the gray, yeah. So that's another tip. You don't always have to connect to the nearest path. You can also just pull it through to the next section. But for starters, I'm just going to connect cheap to cheap by creating these outer circles around our fancy circles. And we're just going to do that for all of the points. So you connect those two and then create a circle around it. You can see how it goes crazy when you try to connect it to any of the different points. Just doing all four. I saw a bit of open space. Is there still open? There is still open space. Okay, let's delete this and try yet again. Perfection. one more. When I'm working with a really intricate design, I usually do it like this. I do one, I don't know how to describe it, one move at a time. So I started with the circles and now I'm filling in the rest of the space. Got another open space between the two and I can't find a good connection point. So we're gonna have to delete that. And it would have been great if the game had an undo, because it's sometimes really difficult to select the path you want. As you can see, oh, there it is. Yeah. As you can see, it's sometimes really difficult to delete the exact stretch of path that you want to delete. And the more intricate your design, the more frustrating that can be. So again, patience. And then we're going to use my rule of thumb again, connecting path type to path type. And you can see it's not causing any troubles when we do that. Alright, through the magic of editing, we finished. Now we're going to fill in this little patch of grass between the two inner rings. Now the corners are causing some clipping issues, which is normal, and I know how to work around that. Not quite yet. You just gotta get out of the corner a little bit more there, and then you can connect them. So it takes a couple more pieces of path to make it work, but it's not that much more effort and it works. Now I am going against my own rule of not switching between path colors, because I just finished with dirt and I've moved on to normal, which is not a great idea for a tutorial, breaking my own rule of thumbs. But for this one it works because it's kind of separate from the design. I want to see... Yeah, I was afraid of that. We can't replace the path with the wide path, because then it's the clipping goes mental. We can make it a little bit more substantial by just laying down more of the narrow path next to it, just looking for a good connection point. And you know, it's not perfect. I should have had a little bit more forethought, but I'm an imperfect person, and sometimes I settle for imperfect results. It's just what it is. You know, sometimes you just want to get to the dinosaur part of the game. Yeah, but connecting this gray filler to the cheap filler right there works pretty well. It snaps at a bit of an off angle. As you can see, it's either in or out. But we'll just settle for, you know, less than ideal. It's fine, it's fine. I'm not a perfectionist. It's fine. So let's place our palms in these little round bits. Make it look a little bit more natural. And use the negative space to our advantage. Now, what do we want to do in this part? Oh, these fit. Okay. I wasn't expecting them to fit, but that's awesome. So we're going to do these at the ends, or rather alongside of the connecting paths. You know, if they don't fit, if the hitbox is red, just try turning it, because the hitboxes aren't perfectly round. So turning it helps make it possible to place them. Alright, and let's fill in with tree number 2. Will it fit? Yes. Perfect. So I'm using a lot of greenery in this design. It's not my most intricate design, but you know, my most intricate designs take an hour, and I didn't feel like doing an hour worth of path design for a basic principles of path design video. I didn't think that would be appreciated by you either. So we've gone with a pretty simple design. But, you know, I'm gonna tell myself that that's good. You can easily replicate this. Gonna lay down a bit of sand. I really wish that dirt texture around the path wasn't a thing, but it is what it is. And we're gonna fill it in with... It's such a shame. Those hitboxes are really annoying. Now I'm wondering, can we fit a big beautiful rock in there alongside of a tree? I'm not optimistic, I must tell you. Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's really disappointing. I really wish that the trees and rocks would not have these ridiculous space requirements. Let's see if we can make it work with a smaller rock, because I really want to use a rock and trees. I want to use both, because I'm greedy. Alright. Fingers crossed. Oh yes, yes. Let's see if we can fit something else in. The palms usually fit. Perfection. One more? Yep. Alright, so we have our little water garden at the center of our square, and that's the finished design. It's not my most intricate path design, but I think it's a good starting point for you guys if you've just begun experimenting with the path tool and creating your own designs to make your parks look more unique and distinctive from one another. I hope watching this video was helpful to you. If it was, please leave a like and a comment so I know that you enjoyed the video. I want to show you more path designs like this, but I also want to do park tours, park destructions, and eventually park builds, although I do find that a little bit intimidating to build and talk at the same time. I'm worried that might be too taxing for my limited brain capacity, but I'm also excited to just show as much of the game as possible and share it with you. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, and if it is, please consider subscribing so you don't miss those videos. I'm just going to work on the park entry point while I tell you about the change in the channel name and my thought process behind it. So I figured I might as well change the channel name to something a little less crazy. So tomorrow I will update the channel name to Evolution Square. This felt like a more subtle callback to my needlessly complicated path designs, which form a public square. You're welcome for me awkwardly explaining the play on words there. Anyway, it's a more subtle callback to what I'm known for, quote unquote, while also being a better description for what I'd want this channel to be, which is just a public place where we can come together and enjoy the game to the fullest. So this channel is just a place where I want to share my ideas and my enthusiasm, and I can only hope that you'll join me. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to you, and I'd love it if you'd help me build this square by giving your input. So like, comment, and/or subscribe. I hope you'll join me for the next video. Let's get the most out of this game together. That's it for now, and until next time, enjoy the game.